We're fortunate today to have with us Helen Millican, and Helen grew up in Lexington, and I don't think there is a person in Lexington under the age of 60 who does not know Helen, because Helen taught swimming at her own home, and she's going to tell us something about this. Now, Helen, what made you start this, and when did you start?
Well, I grew up in Lexington. I swam at the Lexington pool. I used to, as a kid, ride my bike. We lived on Lowell Street, and I would ride my bike all the way up to Lexington, to the playground, and I spent the day there. And I took every course that they had so I could swim. And when I was growing up, I did win 2 medals. The first one one was I swam, and I was in this class from a sinker to a salmon in one summer. So I was a sinker, a pollywog, a minnow, a flounder, and a salmon. And I didn't quite get to the trout. I can still see the instructor, come on, you can do it, you can do it. But, you know, at 8 years old, who cared? You know?
That's wonderful.
And then the next year, I got a medal for most improvement in my swimming. So swimming was my life. I just loved it.
Where did you have these lessons?
Right down the playground in Lexington. Yeah.
Okay.
When we had the big stainless steel slide, and you had to take a cup of water. We took a pan full of water up to the top and pushed it down. Otherwise, you'd burn because it was so hot.
And was that in the same location that the pool is now?
That's it. But then, of course, as time went on, they took and remodeled the whole place and put a deeper pool, a better diving board, and everything is just lovely the way they have it now. But anyway, when it was time for us to have our children and me to bring our children down to the pool to swim, because they had to learn to swim too.
Oh, definitely.
It was it was run differently. If anybody knew Mr. Garrity, he was our boss, and when he walked across that from his car to the pool, we all went, wow, because we respected that man so much. And it was just a different era when our kids got old enough to go swimming. So we decided to build a pool at home, and we had purely for recreation, just for us. And then one of my good friends asked me to teach her daughter how to swim, and I said, sure, I guess I will do that. And then I went back and I got a lot of my credentials all up, and I taught at Hayden too. In the winter I would teach at Hayden, so that helped me get up to par to be able to start teaching again. So then I started teaching, and at our own pool.
Now this was on Hancock Street.
Right, it wasn't Hancock Street, and it wasn't covered. We just had a pool. Then we found not very good season for swimming in New England. So we wanted to put some kind of a cover on the pool, and the only thing we could think about was greenhouses, because that's all Carol knew was greenhouses. So in 1965, we covered it. And then I taught it from April to October, and I had many children. My classes started maybe at 9 o'clock, and I would end at 5:30 or 6 o'clock at night. And I got so that I was teaching the children of the children. They were little children when they came. They grew up and got married, had children, and I had their children too. And I thought because I knew how to swim that everybody knew how to swim. But that wasn't the case at all.
No, that's not true.
That's not true. No.
I don't know how to swim.
So we had a lot of women's classes too, for them to learn to swim. And then we got into exercises in the water, which is a great thing now. Everybody exercises in the water. That's one of the things the doctors push too. So we started that too. And we used to have between 400 and 500 people a week to come in every half hour. The classes changed, and it was, I couldn't cope with that. But
that's amazing.
and I was the only one that taught, because, unfortunately, I never got sick. Once in a while, Brenda would come in, our second daughter. She could teach too if she needed to, if something happened to me. But That's how
So
it started.
how many, just as an estimate, how many
Oh, goodness.
students do you suppose you taught?
I don't know. But here we are at Brooksby, and someone will say, "Oh, you taught my boys how to swim."
Yes.
And this Helen Millican, who just came up here, has got a pretty good, important job. She lived in Burlington, and she told me the other day that I taught her boys how to swim. And I said, "What a surprise, you know," because if the people stayed with me long enough and did everything with me for years and years, because I remember them, and we knew all about their family and everything else that was going on. But I love the people. I just love the people, and I love knowing about the people and all of that part of it. And I was strict. I was very strict. They didn't get their Red Cross awards unless they really earned it, because it was false earning. I mean, they would think that they were great when they really weren't, and they could get into trouble.
Right.
So
right.
we used to have little ribbons that we gave them if they put their face in the water, or if they blew bubbles, and that was a big achievement for them to get a ribbon.
At what age did they usually start? I mean, what age would you recommend having?
Well, Hayden always said 8 years old. And,
Okay.
I did go along with 8 years old, but some people asked me if I would start to teach the younger kids. But Harold thought it was terrible, the screaming and hollering that went along with it.
I can well imagine
yeah,
that.
But my own grandchildren, we had a little tube, they called it the swim sweater. And Shane would put it on, and he could run all over the pool. He could jump off the side and go in, so he felt safe in the water. And when you get them that point, then you can teach them how to put their
Right.
face in the water. And I've often told people when their babies when the children were young, they're just babies, get a cup of water and throw it over their head so they don't know any different than having water run down their face. So when it was time for them to get into the pool or into water, they could blow bubbles by putting their face in. So that gave them
Very
a good
interesting,
start.
yes.
Gave them a good start to do it.
That is
But
wonderful.
I loved doing it. I loved the people, and I loved everything that it was about it. But when we gave up after 35 years, it was time for a change.
Now the pool, is the pool still there on Hancock Street
No.
or not?
When we moved the house,
Right.
yeah, we were trying to downsize ourselves when we moved our house and get fewer acres of land to take care of, and that's when they took the pool out. The pool is completely gone.
Now, do you hear from many of your students? Well, I bet they recognize you when they see you on the
do.
street or
Yeah.
whatever. Oh,
We stopped in Lexington Gardens the other day, and I met a couple of them that day, and it's great to see them because I can remember this child and what this child did and what we accomplished and what he did in school. He wrote a little book, and he was just in elementary school, and he gave me a copy of it. You know, those little things like that.
they're very meaningful.
Yes, you know that as a teacher.
But they appreciate.
Yes.
And it's something that they will have all their life.
That's
the
right.
ability to swim. And, oh, that's wonderful.
It is. It's a great thing to do. And Lexington is very fortunate. They have the pool and everything that they have. And then we have Hayden too on top
Yes.
of it, so they can swim all year round. And our kids in Lexington are very fortunate to have all of this.
They are.
Yeah.
Well, they're fortunate. Lexington was fortunate to have you.
Oh,
So
thank
you're
you.
there for the youth. So I want to thank you from all of the people that took lessons from you and your great contribution to the town. That's wonderful.
As they say,
We-
I love
We
them.
miss you.
Yeah, thank you. I had a lot of women, and we've kept up with the women. We have met through the year to talk with them, you know, and see what they're doing.
Great.
Yeah,
Great.
great.
Well, you'll have to start swimming classes here,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Okay,
It's
thank
at
you.
6:15 in the morning.
Okay. All right, thank you, Helen, very much. An outstanding Lexington citizen.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank you.
the town appreciates all that you've given.
Thank you.
Yeah.